if you have music and you have haram stuff in your homes, filthy images, filthy magazines, angels will not come into your homes. If you have drugs, if you have illegal drugs in your homes, angels will not come into your homes. If you have bad smell in your houses, angels will not come into your homes. And so what happens if angels don't come into your homes? Well, scorpions, snakes, jinns will come in and they will cause you harm. Perhaps whilst you're sleeping, they will try and harm you. Perhaps if they don't harm you, they'll harm your children. So be very, very careful. Go and clean out your homes. Go and absolutely clean out your homes and make sure you have a beautiful, pure home that is protected by the angels. Otherwise you are leaving yourself to yourself and not to the protection of Ar-Rahman. Be very careful. If you smoke, your angels will not stay near you. Don't worry, those two that right will always be there. They will just be wearing gas masks. But all the other angels that protect you, those will not be with you. Because those angels will go away and you will lose the protection of Ar-Rahman. That means when a snake comes to bite you, a scorpion comes to bite you, and a shaitan wants to harm you and you can't even see the shaitan, they will be able to do so. Be very, very careful. Ya Khuti, in my experience in dealing with sisters that are possessed, I know of jinn who have killed pregnant women, babies. Okay, so be very, very careful. Be very careful. Do not say this is so easy and whatever else. No, protect yourselves by the protection of Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The jinns make dua for us, as we know, and they also make dua against the people who are wrongdoers. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْهُدَى مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّائِنُونَ. Verily those who hide that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed from the guidance, after Allah has made it clear to them, then Allah, the angels and all of mankind will curse them. So we know angels make dua for people and curse others. They make dua for those who do good, but they curse those people who do bad. So be very, very wary of the belief of the curse of the angels. Let's move on to our belief in jinns. Jinns, on the other hand, are the other side of the spectrum. Because jinns are a creation just like us, free will, made from fire, and their essence is that they are really angry with us. They were kicked out of Jahannam not because essentially of anything, but because they attribute that to us. Well, it's actually Jibril's fault, right? Astaghfirullah, it's actually Iblis's fault, right? It's Iblis's fault. But Iblis thinks that it's actually our fault. That is actually Allah created us, and so because of that Allah favored us, and because of that He has a more right to be favored than human beings, and as a result He is very angry with us. Because He is very angry with us, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given Him the ability to stay on living till the day of judgment, and also Allah has given Him the ability to get married, and Allah has given Him the ability to have children, that today the children of Iblis that populate the earth are all falling upon the sunnah of their father, and as a result vast majority of the jinn are kuffar. Vast majority of the jinn are kuffar, and of course we know that vast majority of human beings are also disbelievers, right? Most of the human beings are also disbelievers, but also amongst the jinn, however, the vast majority, even more than what it is in human beings, are actually disbelievers. Iblis was created out of a smokeless fire. He was kept in Jannah, and of course he was a worshipper of Ar-Rahman. He believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he used to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no issues. But he had this pride in his heart that he was better than us, and so as a result of this he was thrown out of Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Iblis many different powers. From the powers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Iblis is the ability to see us from where we cannot see him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Iblis the power that with every single human being that is born, he also has one child that is born. So for every human being that is being born today, Iblis has one more devil that is also born into this existence as well. So his numbers are increasing all the time, because jinns don't die at 70 years. They live for longer than 70 years. Some of them live for thousands of years. So the number of jinns are increasing, and one of the reasons why the hadith states that as the day of judgment, no day will come except the evil on that day will be worse than the day before it. One of the reasons given by some of the ulama is that the number of devils are increasing. Number of devils are increasing, and as a result, that fasad and the fitna that they create is also increasing. Every person is not affected by Iblis directly, but definitely his cronies, his followers, his family, his children, then they are with us and they flow in our veins. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that verily shaitan flows in the body of any one of you just like the flowing of the blood. So jinns can therefore influence us in our thinking by whispering in our heads or by actually whispering in our ears. And a few other things have been well known regarding the jinn. Number one, let me tell you of the characteristics of the jinn that the authentic sunnah has told us. Number one, jinns are essentially dumb creatures, except for some of the major ones who are very smart and bright. You might think of jinns as like ogres. So have you thought about ogres? You know, ogres are like big fat dumb creatures, right? You know, they're big with lots of ability but very small brains. Okay, and essentially jinns are like that. So jinns have very little intelligence, and they have a lot of jealousy of human beings. If they attack us, it's because of 4 reasons. They will attack us for 4 reasons. The first reason is because of magic. Because someone does magic upon you, and of course the means of magic is through jinns, is the playing of jinns. So to remove magic, do not use magic to remove magic. If you do so, then you're becoming mushrik, because the use of magic is something which is not allowed, and that is kufr and shirk. So how do you get rid of magic? Well, you seek protection Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, read the Quran, have ruqya done, etc. But do not use magic to remove magic. This is something which is impermissible, la yajuz. If you go to a magician, and how do you know, by the way, people these days, some magicians have started to say that they are doing ruqya, but they're actually magicians. How do you know the difference between magician and ruqya? Well, you know the difference in that the person who does ruqya only uses the Quran, nothing else. He uses the Quran, and he uses the authentic means of ruqya, which is directly from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Whereas a magician, the first thing a magician will do is ask you for your father's and your mother's name. Okay, let me tell you this again. Yeah, rule number 1, magic is only by mentioning your name with your parents' name. So if you hear someone saying, okay, so aapka abba ka kya naam hai aur amma ka kya naam hai? Nahi, hold on. Why are you asking that, by the way? Why are you even asking that? So this is the first rule. This is what one of the sheikhs that I spoke to from Amr bil Ma'ruf, Ihya Amr bil Ma'ruf Nahy al Munkar in Saudi Arabia, who is the main chief magician catcher. Okay, the main one who deals with magicians in Riyadh. When I sat down with him, he said the main thing that differentiates between a magician and a true Raqi, a true person who does true ruqya, is that a magician needs the name of your family members and your parents. So be very wary. If they ask you for your family members or your parents' name, then they're most probably magicians. Okay, so one of the reasons that jinns affect us is because of magic. And we know today, subhanallah, half of Lahore, perhaps half of Pakistan is affected by black magic, isn't it? Because the other half is doing black magic to the other half. Allahu musta'an. And musibah, it's musibah, yani it's such a great musibah, wallahi. And it shows how much disbelief actually exists. So why will Allah give success to Pakistan? If we have this kufr and batil, if we have this haram going on, how will Allah give victory to a country like this? We must rid this country of this evil. And we must rid the country of this evil and put these magicians into prison and kill them off. There should be capital punishment for prisoners, for magicians. Of course, you must follow the due process of law. Do not take the law into your own hands. Please make sure you follow the due process of law. but this is something that must be done. Magicians and the fitna and people who cause fitna and fasad in this dunya, they have no place to live in this dunya. Also magicians, of course, they live amongst dirt and filth. If you go to the house of magicians, they stink. They will have poo and feces and rat poo, and they will have dung, cow dung smeared all over. They might write the Quran with cow dung. We've seen all of that. And these filth, and they'll have dead cats with them, dead rats everywhere. They live in dirt heaps. They look dirty, stink. A magician can never ever smell nice, never ever look nice, never ever live a clean life. No. Those people are not, or perhaps he's a sophisticated magician. But the point is, most magicians are very, very dirty people, because shaitan demands that from them. Yeah, shaitan demands that they live in dirt, because devils actually like bad smell. And that is why devils live inside bathrooms. So, and that is why in the early the Islamic architecture, they never used to make bathrooms inside homes. If you look at the architecture of Spain, the khala was always in the khala. Khala means toilets, and another meaning of khala is open space. So bathrooms were always in the open space. If you look in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the bathrooms were always in the khala, which is actually in the khala. Does that make sense? They weren't actually next to the homes. That is because they are filth, they are dirty, they smell, and those places are habited by the jinns, they're not habited by human beings. So it's not really right these days. Unfortunately, today we build more bathrooms than we do places of prayer in our homes. Well, guess what? There are places for the jinns to hang around. So please stop making homes for jinns in your homes. Okay, the jinns, they attack us, number one, because of black magic. Number two, they attack us because of jealousy. Okay, because they're essentially jealous of us. And because they're jealous of us, because they got thrown out of Jannah because of us, as a result, and because Allah favors us above them, making them prostrate to us, and as a result, they are very jealous of us. So if they attack us because of jealousy. Number three, third reason they attack us is because of revenge. Revenge because you did something to them. What did you do? Or you threw hot water there, and the jinn's baby was there, and you burnt his skin. So what the? I mean, how did they? Kidhar hai aap? Yani, where are you? I can't even see your chota or mota. I can't even see where they are. So, but this is the problem with jinns. They're like big ogres. You know ogres? Like they're like big monsters with like very little brains, and that's the problem. Because they think that you actually intended to do that, when you know that subhanAllah you didn't even see the jinn's baby. So what you should do is always have Allah's name on your tongue. Always. Going to the bathroom, have Allah's name. Coming out of the bathroom, Allah's name. Going to sleep, Allah's name. Taking your clothes off, Allah's name. Putting your clothes on, Allah's name. Coming out of your house, Allah's name. Please, ya ikhwati. Yeah, dua is the shield of the believer. If you don't have this book called Hisn al-Muslim, the fortress of the believer, I really sincerely ask you to buy it. It's a very small book. It's only a few rupees, 10 rupees or so, and you can buy it. It's called Hisn al-Muslim. It can be downloaded on your phone as well. I'm sure it's available in iPad version. MashaAllah, our brother is proudly showing the fact that he has the fortress of the believer with him. I just hope he actually does read it. I will make sure, inshallah, he reads it. So the fortress of the believer is very important, because you read this and inshallah Allah protects you. Yeah. And that's why Rasulullah said, whoever says Bismillah tawakkaltu ala Allah wal hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, when he comes out of the home, then the shaitan does not affect him until he returns back at night. And then anyone who says Bismillah in the name of Allah, then he enters into the house, the shaitan cannot sleep there. Okay, so shaitan cannot sleep in the homes where a person shaitan cannot sleep in the house where people enter saying Bismillah. Shaitan cannot eat the food that people say Bismillah. Shaitan also cannot uncover something if you say Bismillah and cover it. Okay? But shaitan will eat the food if you don't cover it, And shaitan will eat the food if you don't say Bismillah with Bismillah at the same time. He will eat the food along with you. And he will stay in the house if you're going into the house without Bismillah. And sometimes we tend to do that. Oh, hello, bhai sahab, acha bhai sahab, kaise hain aap? Okay, and you're opening the door, tik tak, and then you're going in, don't even say Bismillah, or no salam, no nothing. And so therefore, you know what, guess what? You've just given the shaitan a free one night stay in your house. Be very careful. Be very careful, okay? Be very careful. Be mindful of these matters. Be intelligent about it. The unseen world is all around you. They are very active. And your enemies do not sleep. Yeah? Enemies don't sleep. When we sleep, our enemies don't sleep. So be very careful, ya akhwati. Be very careful about you and your family and protect them, inshallah. The last reason why jinns attack us is because jinns have love for human beings. So can they actually have lust for human beings? Yes, absolutely. I know of many sisters that I spoke to when they were possessed, of course. I don't speak to generally sisters like that. Okay, anyway, so when they were possessed, these sisters, they said that my jinn told me that he loves me. And I remember in some Rakia sessions, some jinn said, I don't want to leave. Why not? Because main pyar karta hu usse. So I love this man, or I love that woman. And so I know female jinns that possess men and male jinns that possess females. So yani kamal ka cheez hai. What the heck do you do? How do you protect yourself? Well, if you shower naked, okay, and you take your clothes off and you're a beautiful person and you're naked, the jinns will look at you and they might like you and they might want to marry you, and so they will possess you. Okay, it's very important. Remember, they live in your bathrooms. Perhaps some sisters are going to be like, now how the heck am I going to have a shower? In the name of Allah, Bismillah, a'udhu billahi min al-khubthi wal khaba'ith, right? In the name of Allah, I seek protection from the male and female jinn. That's what khubth and khaba'ith means. Male and female jinn, that's the tafsir of that meaning. So you should enter into the bathroom seeking protection with Allah Azza wa Jal. Number two, if you are a person that's affected by black magic, don't have a shower naked. Don't have a shower naked. Okay, it's a few more clothes to wash, but yes, I mean generally after you don't tend to put the same clothes on back anyway. You might as well have a shower in your clothes. So please, it's very important. If you, it may be that if you're careless and you're a handsome boy or a beautiful girl, that jinns might possess you because of this. At the same time, I don't want you to be afraid of the jinn. Please don't be afraid of the jinn, because Rasulullah said if you are afraid of the jinn become as big as a house. Okay, they grow. The more they sense the fear, the more stronger they get. The more they sense that you don't care about them and they're stupid, and you just say "thu," and then you step on them, etc. Then they become small like an ant. Okay, so remember that you will power the jinn by your fear of them, and you will remove their power by your disdain of them and by your rejection of them. Is that clear, everybody? It's very, very important. Jinns generally don't fear human beings, but some human beings they do fear. In fact, of course, as we know, when Umar radiallahu anhu took one road, then the shaitan would take another road, right? Also, we know that when Imam Ahmed rahimahullah came to Al-Baghdad, it was reported that all the jinn left the people of Baghdad. Whoever was possessed in Baghdad, they just left, and they said, we will not stay in the city in which Imam Ahmed stays. It was reported also in one narration that Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah was busy giving a class, and then one man came, just like mashallah these brothers are coming to me and whatever, they're doing so many things to me, mashallah, what's going on? And, oh, of course, thank you, Zakallah. So it was reported that Shaykh ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah was giving class, and the one man came and interrupted the Shaykh and said, Shaykh, please, my wife's possessed. Do something. I mean, of course, a lot of brothers do feel their wives are possessed, but this was a definite this was a definite case of possession. So the Shaykh said, look, I'm busy, I don't have time, but take my shoe. So he gave his shoe, the shoe of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and the man took the shoe of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah and lifted up the shoe like this to his wife, and the jinn said, is that the shoe of Ibn Taymiyyah? Said, yes it is. So khalas, I'm leaving. So he left. Ya ikhwati, just because you get possessed doesn't mean you're a bad person. Okay, because even good people were possessed. It was authentically reported that Uthman radiallahu anhu was once possessed. Okay, and in fact after Uthman radiallahu anhu was possessed briefly, of course, once he was possessed, then Rasulullah came to Uthman, opened his mouth and said, "Ukhruj ya aduwallah, get out, O enemy of Allah," and the shaitan got out. Okay, so it doesn't mean, ya ikhwati, that you're necessarily evil person if you get possessed. Okay, it could be black magic being done to you, some ill effect done to you. So don't please think that you are necessarily bad if that happens. Jinns, they get married, they have kids. Can they have kids with human beings? Scholars of differences. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says they can. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says there are reports of jinns sleeping with human beings and giving birth to children. Also As-Suyuti rahimahullah has also quoted many incidences. So what type of beings are there? The human beings, or half jinn, half beings, or do they just become invisible and they become visible again? Who knows what they are? Only Allah knows. Only Allah knows. I don't know. Majority scholars say they can't. But some scholars of the great muhaqqiqeen, some of the greatest scholars, like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says, jinns can sleep with human beings and can have babies with human beings. Very interesting. Okay, very interesting. And so as a result, and that is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ وَاجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ وَرَجْلِكَ وَشَارِكْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ وَعِدُهُمْ وَمَا يَعِدُهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. And prepare your armies and prepare your warring steeds and go and fight humanity. Go and wage war upon humanity, right? And take from them prisoners to Jahannam, whoever you can, and partner with them. وَشَارِكْهُمْ, and benefit from their amwali wal awlad, from their money and their awlad, then children. So some of the scholars understood sharikhum fil amwali wal awlad to mean have kids with them as well. Okay, to have children with only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows whether that is possible or not. But some scholars have definitely said that is possible, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. However, we do know that there are female jinns and male jinns, and female jinns sleep with each other and then they have babies. We also know that jinns have animals, and the animals of the jinn eat the dung of our animals. So we have cows and camels, etc., for example, and they have cow dung and camel dung. So the jinns eat the dung. The animals of the jinns eat the dung of the animals of the human beings. So as you can see, jinns are like lowly creatures, lower than us. That's why never ever be afraid of the jinns. The moment you're afraid of the jinn, they'll become bigger than you. And remember that you are better than the jinns. Allah has made you better than the jinns. But though both of you will be judged in the day of judgment. They can see us in this dunya. In Jannah, they will not be able to see us. We'll be able to see them. Okay, so alhamdulillah, tables are turned. Okay, so alhamdulillah, in Jannah we get to see them, they will never be able to see us, mashallah. So that's a very beautiful blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also remember that the jinns eat three things actually, that the sunnah has told us about. They eat smell. So the smell, it's like water for them. You know how we drink water to quench our thirst? They smell things. Smelling is like quenching thirst for them. So bad smell for bad jinns, good smell for good jinns. So if you have bad smell in your homes, then that invites the jinn. It's like a thirsty jinn looking for water. Where is he going to go? Bathrooms. So please don't have smelly bathrooms. If you do have a mashallah bad smell coming out of you, then please make sure that you get rid of that bad smell as soon as you can. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, they eat food, and they eat food with us. If we say Bismillah, then only the good jinns can eat the food with us, and the bad jinns eat the food on which there is no Bismillah. They also eat the jinns, the good jinns. They eat the excuse me, the good jinns. It is authentically reported that they eat bones. So for example, the Prophet ﷺ told us that when we do our aqiqah, that we should not break the bones and we should bury the bones on its own, because that is the food of the ikhwanuna min al jinn. And when they said ikhwanuna, it was understood to mean the